Ryan Easterling for Illini Playbook here with Scott Burgess of Chicago Hoops at the first night of the Minneapolis EYBL event. This is the fourth in this series just before the playoffs and the Peach Jam down in Georgia. And of course, if Spies was loaded, we came to you guys a couple weeks ago with Spies. This is loaded. These are a lot of the top teams in the country that are all the Nike-sponsored teams, and teams from all over the country, some from Chicago, some from Wisconsin, teams from California, Texas, New York, the up northeast, the southeast. Teams that just were loaded with talent, and a lot of the top 50, top 100 players are here this weekend. Some of those guys really shined today, and some of them that were outside that range had big performances, and one of those guys that's probably kind of working his way into the picture in 2015, Scott's going to go ahead and lead us off with.
Yeah, in Texas, or Team Texas Elite versus Wisconsin Playground, player of the game was Matt McQuaid. 2015 shooting guard, small forward. Early in the game, he had some aggressive cuts to the hoop, was moving well without the ball, very active, scoring points in that way. As the second half went on, his jumper was on fire, and he just couldn't miss. And he carried his team, against a very talented Wisconsin Playground team who might have one of the top players in the country, one of the best rosters here. So he carried his team in the second half. He ended up hitting the game winner. The one player you didn't want to leave open in that, opportunity there for them, that was the guy that left open, and he nailed the game-winning three with about 6 seconds to go. So he had a great game for Team Texas Elite, and Ryan's going to talk about St. Louis Eagles player that our fans from Illinois know well.
Yeah, one of the guys that we've been eager to see this spring has been Larry Austin of Springfield Landfair. And with former Landfair guard and former Illinois guard Rich McBride in attendance, one of his assistant high school coaches, he really put on a great performance. Larry had a little bit of a rough year, but I think that's because he's been forced to play some positions that aren't natural to him during his high school season because he's one of the bigger guys on his team. And what we got to see today was what Larry can do when he's surrounded by the talent that he needs to be an effective point guard. He finished with 18 points, 8 boards, 5 assists. He may have actually had some more rebounds than that. I'm not really sure. But one of the things I saw is Larry got to the hoop whenever Larry wanted to get to the hoop. The jump shot wasn't falling, but he knew that, and he recognized that. Instead of trying to keep forcing the jump shot, he kept getting to the hoop. He would get fouls, draw fouls. He made his free throws, which was big for him. And I just thought he had a great performance. Very tenacious on D. He was aggressive on both offensive and defensive end for rebounding. And really, he got his teammates involved, saw the floor well in transition. Did a lot of the things that we've been waiting for Larry Austin to do well. And I thought that his performance today really kind of, set him on the right track. I don't know that he's quite there yet because he needs to display that consistency. But I think for Larry Austin, this was a big step in the right direction. One guy, though, who absolutely lit it up for Alabama Challenge, I'm going to hand it back over to Scott for.
Yeah, Devin Booker for the Alabama Challenge is a kid that I've got to watch, over the last year a little bit. Really liked him at Elite 100 last year. Really skilled shooting guard that can really light it up from three. One of the best perimeter shooters in this class by far, nationally. But the area that he's really improved in is taking his game off the bounce. Beating his man off the dribble. He just got more athletic over the last year, handling the ball better, and he could beat a defense in so many ways. Good passer, good defender. Against a talented Oakland Soldiers team, he took it at Stanley Johnson, who might be the best defender in the 2014 class nationally. He was going right at him in the first half and dominating the game, really. He had his team up big in the first half. Oakland Soldiers came back to win at the end. We're going to talk about a little bit about Stanley here in a little bit. But outstanding game for Devin. In my opinion, he's one of the top 10 to 12 players in the class nationally. He's got North Carolina, Duke, Kentucky, Michigan State, Missouri. They're all over him. And, obviously one of the best players in that class. And the other guy that might be fighting for that top 2 guard spot in 2014 nationally, Ryan's going to talk about.
Yeah, if it was possible to assign a co-player of the game tag to somebody in that game between Wisconsin Playground and Team Texas Elite, it would probably go to Rashad Vaughn. Rashad Vaughn for Wisconsin Playground was absolutely just taking over the game. He's very aggressive, but the thing about it is he's aggressive and under control. Rashad Vaughn plays very under control. He plays strong. He plays quick. He attacks the rim. He gets open shots. He can pull up from just about anywhere. But the thing that impressed me the most, I think, was his defense. Obviously, he put up 21 points, but his defense was crazy. He was blocking shots, stealing the ball, getting great rebounds, and really he was out there asserting himself and proving that he's in that conversation to be one of the top 2 guards in the country, if not maybe even the top 2 guard in the country. I think that even though his team came away with the loss, he really made a statement for himself. I think that he's been playing this way for a while, and now on this big stage of EYBL, he really showed that it's not just a fluke, that he can consistently go out there night after night and put up these numbers and put out these performances. And I'm going to hand it back over to Scott to wrap up with Stanley Johnson. You had mentioned him for the Alabama Challenge game. Tell me a little bit about the other side of that matchup.
Yeah, when making my schedule, this was a matchup I wanted to see because one of the best offensive perimeter players in the country versus one of the best defenders in the country. I kind of compare him a little bit to like a Ron Artest. He's just so physical, so rangy and athletic on the perimeter. Devin really took it to him early in the game, and he had to really step his game up. He did in the second half. Man, he stepped up in the second half. He took it over. He led his team all the way back, from a big deficit early in that second half. He was hitting threes. He was getting to the hoop. He was getting steals in transition and finishing on the other end. He's just doing it all. And he's a guy that is just a grinder. He's going to be that ultimate team guy that has all the skills that can just do everything you need for a team. And that's why, every school in the country is on him. He's one of the probably top 10 to 12 players in the country, and he showed why tonight. And one of the top 2015 kids in Illinois impressed tonight in the first half of Mean Streets game. And Ryan's going to talk about Mr. Charles Matthews.
Yeah, finally for a guy that we've all been familiar with for quite some time is Charles Matthews. Matthews has been a little bit up and down throughout his high school season, partially because he's got some other guys on his team, and of course Vic Law had a big season too. But now with Vic Law not at the event, with Paul White not at the event, and with Marlon Jones not at the event, Charles Matthews is having to play a little bit out of position, but it didn't faze him tonight. He was making shots from outside, he was getting to the hoop. Typically he's playing a lot of lead guard position, but what happened tonight is he was able to come off of that position with the Tyler Ulis playing the point guard role. And I think with him playing that point guard, that frees up Charles to not only be a slasher and a driver, but handle it occasionally, too, and give Tyler a break. But early on, he was hitting great shots. I thought he was really playing within himself. He was playing aggressive, but he was playing under control, like the same way Rashad Vaughn was. Different type of player. But Charles Matthews' skill at this early age is very evident. And I think tonight he really showed that he's got what it takes to hold himself up in that ranking. After maybe some questions came out during the season, I think during the spring we really see his true colors come out when he gets to get out, run, play an up-tempo game, and I think that's really where his natural fit is. But anyway, that wraps it up for us here tonight, Friday night at EYBL in Minneapolis. Make sure you check back in throughout the rest of the weekend as we bring you all the latest updates from here in Minneapolis, Minnesota.